Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In the last video, we were able to fix the issue that we had with the group by method, and we also saw how the group by method does not change the original object, and then how we can use the for off loop to get out the result of a map constructor that categorizes or group elements together. So I want to believe that we learned a great deal from those two videos. And moving on in this lesson, we are going to just talk about the difference between the object group by method and the map group by method. So object has a group by method and map also has its own. But there are differences between these two methods, and that is what I want us to look at in this lesson. Now, the difference between object group by method and map dot group by method is object dot group by method groups elements into a JavaScript object. Now, when you use the group by method on an object in JavaScript, it will group the element of that object into a JavaScript object. But when we use the same method, which is the group by on a map object, it will group elements into a map object, which means that even though both of them are eventually group elements into an object, the type of object that they will group a elements to are different. One is a JavaScript object, which is the standard object that we've talked about in the past, while the other is going to be a map object. And you know that a map object can have a keys that could be a number, a string, and even objects, etc. Unlike a standard object that only takes string as key and or numbers or symbols, sorry, not number. It only takes strings or symbols as key. So remember these key differences between the two. And so that also determines what happens to the elements of each of them. So the standard object in JavaScript and the map object. So one groups elements into a JavaScript object using the group by method, while the other one groups elements into a map object using the same group by method. So these are the differences between objects and map using the group by method. So moving on from that, I want to introduce us to the JavaScript WeakMap. Now, at this point, I do not expect this topic to be new to you, hearing that in the previous lessons, when we were still discussing about sets, we talked about weak sets extensively. We practicalized with examples. We talked about their weaknesses. We talked about how they help save memory when we talked about garbage collection. So what we had for set, which was weak set, is the same thing that we have for map. But instead of weak set, now is now weak map, because they are two different concepts. Now, the weak map object. A JavaScript weak map is a collection of key value pairs where the keys must be objects. Remember that for weak sets, the element must be objects. And the same thing is for the weak map too. It's a collection of key value pairs where the key must be object, which means that every key of the key value pair for a JavaScript weak map must always be object. Now, a weak map holds weak references to its keys, just as a weak set holds weak references to its objects. So you can see that these are alternating sides of the same coin. So one is for set, while the other one is for map, according to the definition that we have right here on the screen. And now, when we talked about weak map, just as we were able to learn about how to create an instance, how to create a weak set, then we should also know how to create what we have here too, which is a weak map. And so I am going to just go ahead and just like the weak set that add or make use of a new constructor, a new set constructor, the weak map also makes use of a new map constructor. and a new weak map constructor rather, the weak set used new weak set constructor. So weak map now we use new weak map constructor. So let's take a look at an example in my code editor. So here we are talking about JavaScript map, weak map. So now we want to make how to the new weak map constructor can be used to make a weak map. So let's go ahead and create that. So create a weak map. Now, how do you create a weak map? There's already the definition that you use the new weak map constructor. So you just make your weak map and say const my map or something. You can call it any name that you want, or you might not use const. You can use let and say let my map equals to, then you pass in the new constructor, new weak map this way. And then once you have this, then you can create an object, because don't forget that either a weak set or weak map always needs an object. Create an object. So what should I call the object? You can call it anything. Let my object equals to. So what are the data that I want to have in my object? I want to have first name to be Len, and then I want to have the last name of this person to be Diesel. So now I have my object. Now that I have my object, then I need to set this object as the value of my weak map. Set object as the value of my weak map. So how do I do that? I can just use the set method to set it. And how do I do that? Calling on my map and then passing in the set method. And inside that set method, I can pass in my object in order to be set inside my map. And so once I have this, in my case, I want to add one more thing. So which means that the set method can accommodate optional parameters. So I want to add a text here. So I'll just pass the text here as an optional parameter. Now, look at what I already have. Then it is now time to get the weak map value. Get the weak map value. And how do I get that? If you remember how we did with set, we need a what? We need a get method. So let's type equals to my map dot get. So what will happen inside that get method? We pass in my objects like this, right? And then you can get the output document.getElement by id demo1 inner html equals to type. And now you can see the output is player. Meanwhile, it's not supposed to be ordinary player. So let's find out what actually happened. The reason why is because I'm outputting the type. And outputting the type for real is supposed to just give me the value of the type, which is correct. What is in my object? So I'm setting player to replace my object, which is correct. So in order to just let this make sense, let me just make a string and say E is a plus type. Now check this out. E is a player. So you can see that by using the set method, I've changed override the values of my object, which was the first name and last name, because that is what set method does. You can use it to set a value of a map. So, and then what I override it with is this player. And I just made a string and concatenate them together and look at what I have. He is a player. So this is how you make a weak map object in JavaScript. In the next lesson, we'll continue and I'll see you until then. Thank you.